Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gargoyles episode reviews. Today we're continuing the thrill of the hunt. Ready to feel the thrill of the hunt? We're wrapping up our review of the first episode of the series proper. If you thought the antagonists and villains of the show opener were fierce, better watch your back because the pack is circling for the kill. Make sure you watch the first half of the episode review. Now, I write this as if it was my first time through the episode. Spoilers are in the 2020 moments sections. Info from Greg Weisman, Gargoyles creator, are in the according to Greg sections. There's Goliath towering over Lexington. It's kind of a weird picture. His arms are not drawn quite right. Must be nice to automatically sleep through the day even when you're riled up from an argument. Lex and Goliath roll right into their argument. The gist: Goliath wants, suddenly, to keep their existence a secret. This didn't bother him during awakening, so perhaps something happened to make him rethink the let's fly around and be obvious tactic. Lex thinks they should take chances with people, otherwise the clan will always be alone. The pack could be great allies, if given the chance. The pack is honorable, it fights evil. Lex didn't tell them about the stone's sleep, either, so it's not like he blabbed all the clan's secrets. The pack doesn't even know where the clan lives. I want to bet. Gargoyles. The trio looking very excited when Goliath agrees to the meeting. Hudson backs up Lex. Broadway thinks they might need the clan's help. 2020 moment. Two pack members, Fox and Dingo, have benefited from the clan's help so far. It would have been great to have an ep where the pack and clan work together. I mean, all of them together. It could be a dream/vision or virtual reality. Somebody write that fic. Goliath agrees to meet them before he judges them. This is a rare view of the Erie building base. Beautiful. So we're up top looking down. Now, right here where I have the cursor, this actually, I think, is where Xanatose had the Steel Clan robots. I incorrectly said last time that it was probably in the Great Hall, but I don't think so, because if you look at how the windows are shaped here, almost like cathedral windows where they're arched at the top, that looks a lot like the windows we saw back in, episode 5, beginning part, where he's got them all lined up, because it did strike me as a bit odd that he would have those in the Great Hall when the gargoyles seem to be in there a lot. And you can see this is a very solid building. I like the angles. And there's like this little outrigger thing down here. These light, I don't know, they look like almost some sort of power generation device. Looks pretty neat. I got the purple light, and this whole block belongs to Xanatose Enterprises. Probably the whole thing does around here. But see, here's this light tube, resembles that there. The atrium is in here, castle's up here. Got a lot of windows going on here. Beautiful. I love that building. Be very, very quiet. We're hunting gargoyles. Off they go to the empty, dark Pack Media Studios. This is like those Batman the Animated Series episodes where Bats stalks through abandoned fun houses in search of Joker. Well, given who the writer was, that's not a surprise. Here they are walking in. I see nothing that could possibly go wrong here. The pack opens up the meeting with a spotlight and a flashbang. I'm awake now. How about some gunfire for fun? Oh, it's one of those non-burning, non-lethal flashbangs? Yeah, those flashbangs, I know they're not meant to be grenades, but they're still explosives. The Gargs dash into the gaudy gauntlet. Hyena lures Lex and Goliath deeper into the maze of halls with various traps inside. What was the plot of the show? I mean, the actual pack show. They fight ninjas, but where does this gauntlet and its funhouse front fit? They're the usual fare, the traps I mean, the same we saw on the Pack TV show at the castle. Walls that try to smash you, spikes, trapdoors. Well, now it appears this is a trap. Wasn't I just saying something about the Joker? There's spikes coming out of the wall. The penitent man kneels. Indiana Jones would hate this. The ambush doesn't surprise us viewers since we saw Fox's pitch for a hunting trip, but Lex is stunned. Imagine going to meet your idol, say it's a rock band, and having them attack you. The advantage of surprise that the pack has is about 1,000 times greater on Lex than Goliath. Goliath was already wary to begin with. There's Goliath ripping through the wall. If my prey ripped through steel, I might reconsider my game plan. Goliath rips through the walls that are about to crush them in the gauntlet. Fox watches from above, announcing that usually the traps aren't lethal, but they just juiced them up for the Gargs. You don't want to tangle with Fox, trust me. According to Greg, we always see this episode from the hunted's point of view. Here the Gargoyles are hunted, so we don't see much of the pack. Later, though, for the pack, the gauntlet lets them gauge the Gargoyles' strength and abilities. I'm betting Fox had the idea of running Lex and Goliath through the gauntlet. Remember, all the pack has to go on are the daily Tatler reports and a few CCTV stills. Not exactly the amount of intel I'd want when engaging a species that is obviously sentient and obviously strong. That's part of the thrill, I guess, but it's also a good way to die. The Gargoyles escape through a window and fly into the city. Let the hunt begin. Lex and Goliath land to discuss matters. Lex feels like an idiot for trusting the pack. He wanted so badly to be future savvy. He just wanted to help the clan. And to make it all worse, it was on TV. How could those people not be who they were on TV? Keep flying, guys. There they are, standing, arguing. Or maybe they're not arguing. I think Lex has just irritated himself. This ep is a good reminder that the Gargoyles are from 1,000 years ago. TV is 100% foreign to them. Why wouldn't they believe everything they see on it? Early viewers did, after all. Goliath says the pack is worse than animals, since animals hunt for food. Obviously, he's never seen a cat. Too bad Dingo has an exploding batarang to break up the brainstorming. Another narrow escape. As the Gargoyles fly past, Jackal slices power kit cords that somehow electrocute the Gargoyles despite lack of a ground. Oh well, they catch themselves on a fire escape. Here's a picture of the knife cutting through pretty decent gauge steel wires. Are those wires made of twine? Otherwise, that's a heck of a knife. They are getting electrocuted in midair. Yeah, that doesn't really work. Physics. You have no power here. But another explosion, this from Hyena, sends them crashing down 5+ stories with a ton of masonry. Turns out Gargoyles don't land on their feet after a fall. Keep them off balance, pack. They have amazing luck. That big chunk on the right almost crunched Goliath. Falling masonry on this show is a real threat. Way worse than quicksand in the westerns. The pack closes in around the pile of rubble and Gargoyles. Looks like the end for the Gargs. Read that in an announcer's voice, okay? And it's an overhead shot of Goliath and Lex pretty much out of commission in rubble, and the pack is closing in around them. Excellent camera shot. Until they're rescued by fans of the pack. A boy and girl break from their parents to gush over the famous pack. In the most intelligent move of his screen time so far, Wolf co-ops the youngsters by telling them the Gargoyles are part of the evil ninjas. The Gargoyles are also as naive as the kids, huh? Xanatose found it refreshing in Goliath. Kids are easy to brainwash. Just have a celebrity tell them who to hate, who to love, and they follow like sheep. And by the way, the category kids isn't age-dependent, it's maturity-dependent. The Gargoyles wake up and begin mixing it up with the pack. The kids start throwing cans at Lex, who yells at them. Aw, their first riot. They run back to Mom and Dad like scared puppies. The parents pull Billy and Susie away, reasoning this is a stunt for a film session. This is such a great cover by the pack. The best covers are the ones that people and onlookers perpetuate. What's the matter? Didn't get your participation trophy? Got some backlash from the nasty evil reality? Lex and Goliath escape again. The pack isn't being too lethal. They're using fists, claws, and other non-firearm weapons. Even the explosives aren't designed to kill. These hunters are more like a pride than a pack, preferring to toy with their food. It's always a bad idea for antagonists in fiction. Protags will use the slack to free themselves and defeat their villains. In real life, though, it's as effective as torture, which is pretty darn effective. The caveat is that the prey might get sick of being prey and decide to become the predator if the antagonist hits the right or wrong buttons. Flip the table. The gargoyles have reached high ground. Somehow they've found a roof where there's a stone gargoyle every 3 feet. Very convenient. Maybe the owner really likes cathedral statuary. Maybe there's a gargoyle artist here. Maybe the White Witch of Winter turned a bunch of gargoyles to stone. You're welcome for the panorama shot. That looks very nice in panorama. It took me a minute to get all the scenes lined up like that. We're with the pack on this, which means they are the hunted. They scramble up with grapples, showing again their impressive abilities. Dingo comes face to face with a stone garg and shoots its head off. Why didn't you want to do this earlier? Oh, right, the hunt. These people would probably hunt hog with a spear. So close. And there's the face of the gargoyle, the fake gargoyle. The mohawk is amazing on Dingo. Hyena vanishes. Good old-fashioned horror movie techniques as we see her gauntlet being tossed out in front of everyone from the shadows. Lex grabs Dingo and flies off with him. How does Lex have this much lift? I mean, Dingo looks like he's pretty solid. Gotta be at least 200 pounds, if not more. The losses freak the others out enough to split up the party. Guys never split up the party. Fox knows this, but Jackal won't listen. Even if you never played an RPG, surely you've watched Scooby-Doo. The shadows take out Jackal. And you've got the shadows on the wall. That was a nice touch. Afraid of shadows? Jackal is. With only Fox and Wolf left, the pack needs to pack up its toys and go home. Not so fast. Goliath lunges at them and pushes them through a brick wall. Last I checked, the human body will give before the concrete wall does, but the wall didn't seem to have any mortar, so... To make matters worse, the wall is about 2 or 3 stories up. This is how high they were. We're looking down on it, looks like a photo shoot. Falling through, it lands everyone on the concrete floor below, despite crashing into the ground with a gargoyle on top of them. Fox and Wolf hop up like nothing happened. I mean, it's not like they could do some sort of roll or break fall or anything like that. They really just got squished into the concrete. I don't care how good a stunt falling you are, you're toast falling from that high up. They're in another studio where a swimsuit shoot is taking place. So were the gargoyles up top maybe like storage or something? That could be. I guess that's a good choice for the writers because Fox needs a hostage. 2020 moment. After this ep, Fox would never again be rash enough to take a hostage. She won her early release by helping a guard, the opposite of taking a hostage. Now, don't be so quick to roll your eyes at Fox. There's a learning curve when it comes to dealing with gargoyles. These monsters just did who knows what to 3 of her teammates. Will Goliath tear her limb from limb? I mean, just pushed her through a brick wall. I still don't know why every bone in her body isn't crushed, but whatever. Will he try to crush her skull? When you're facing almost 7 feet of muscle and rage, you don't have time for deep analysis. She takes the surest option for immediate survival, a hostage. Suddenly, Fox has a snub semi-auto pistol, probably a Walther P38. There she is. Got the hostage in a hammerlock and with a gun. Might have used that earlier, mate. That little gun. She and Wolf back out of the building. All the while, the photographer is taking pics of Fox. Not the big purple monster. Nope, Fox. Well, she and Wolf are stars. He probably thinks this is a stunt. I'll rant on this later. Stay tuned. Reflection in the lens. Wow, that is an animated show, remember. Not an anime. That's nice. Outside, Lex screams out of the sky and knocks Fox out. It's almost as bad as falling masonry. Wolf is game for more, but even he can't handle Goliath almost crushing his fist. Wolf is tenacious, I'll give him that. He's just not very bright. With the pack leaders down, the Gargs go on their way. A police cruiser rolls up a moment later. Crap. I can imagine the cops' expressions when they roll up on this scene. There's Fox and Wolf unconscious in the driveway. The heroes return to the castle. Lex berates himself more. Goliath shrugs it off. There are still heroes in the world. You just shouldn't believe all the ones who claim to be heroes, especially if they're on TV. Debriefings suck when you made the squad almost fail. There's a picture of Goliath and Lex. The sun comes up, putting another night and another adventure to rest. The good guys won, the bad guys lost. So relaxing. Tag, you're it. But wait, there's more. And here's a new establishing shot. It's a detention center, probably the county jail. What's this now? We have nice landscaping at least, and it's got a picture of the jail. Actually, it looks better than a lot of places I've worked and a lot of places I've gone to school. According to Greg, one of the factors that sets Gargoyles apart from almost all the other series is its use of what Greg calls the Xanatose Tag Ending. In it, the last 1 to 2 minutes of the ep explain how Xanatose came out on top despite a seeming loss. With David, defeat is only skin deep. No plan he lays has only one goal. This is what gambits are all about. No matter what option his opponents chooses, Xanatose will achieve a win. Talk about groundbreaking in a series, much less one for younger viewers. Side note, setting up your own plans to include multiple goals, options, and wins is crucial. It's all about taking advantage of our opportunities. Owen is filling Xanatose in on what happened with the pack and Gargoyles. David is super calm, zen-like, really. He's got a picture of him in a brick room with a guard in the background, and Xanatose couldn't get any more relaxed. Sitting there with his head back, eyes closed. Owen is trying to touch the least amount of surface area humanly possible. The guard is zoned out. The experts say the worst, and in writer speak that means the best, most character developing thing you can do for your character is to embarrass them. Well, mission accomplished. Xanatose has suffered public humiliation before the press, private humiliation before his family, and business humiliation before his colleagues, employees, investors, and rivals. This would drive most antagonists into supervillain, creating rage. Not Xanatose, though. Instead, he's maintaining his dignity and calm. He's also carrying out his plans as if nothing happened. Sure, being in jail makes it a bit more complicated, as does his limited visiting hours with his right-hand man, but David is up for the challenge. The picture of Chill is looking as good as ever, even in jailhouse blues. Speaking of Owen Burnett, something everybody seems to overlook is the fact that Owen is not in jail. Remember, he was an accomplice. As head of security, he not only knew what went on, he assisted. He probably gave all the briefings, too. He was an accessory to everything Xanatose did. Elisa didn't mention anything about him regarding the court proceedings, so I have to assume he was never charged. I can't believe Owen got off by cooperating with the authorities against David. Well, maybe he did, maybe David gave him the go-ahead. So there's only one good explanation for this. David took full blame, doing all in his power to keep Owen in the clear. Oh, sure, he needs Owen at the Erie building, so the business and Xanatose's ongoing schemes run according to plan. But he didn't have to play it this way. He could get an underling to be his proxy. Every other antag/villain does this. Anyone they have authority over is an underling, easily replaced. With David and Owen, this isn't so. The relationship is about David valuing Owen and Owen respecting David. This isn't about control or fear. Owen isn't even in this to get ahead. He's not the lieutenant who backstabs his boss. This relationship between antagonists sets Gargoyles apart yet again, and I'll point it out every time it comes up. Just as in real life, being incarcerated doesn't stop ringleaders from carrying out their plans and business. Owen details the pack's actions and defeats. It all turned out as David predicted. This alone is a triumph for him. Oh, wait a minute. The pack is a Xanatose Enterprises creation? You figured he was just using them, but now it makes so much more sense. They don't know he's the one behind their existence. Xanatose wanted them to be far more than a TV show. Like the Commandos, they were to serve as a strike team if needed. What kind of a guy has strike teams left and right? Xanatose, that too. No wonder the casting agent hired people who were ready and able to get into real combat. Hey, maybe you should have just gotten the discs. They should have just gotten the discs from Cyberbiotics. In typical Xanatose fashion, not only does he profit by having a team of skilled mercenaries, he also gets a high-grossing TV series. The pack was a fine idea. It's in the trash now after the cops arrested the pack, though. 2020 moment / according to Greg. Greg and company didn't know Xanatose and Fox were an item. That's why David shrugs off the pack's arrest. I wonder if the writers would have changed this scene if they'd known the BFGF deal. It works well the current way, actually. He didn't tell Fox and the pack anything because the whole thing was a test. He's disappointed and annoyed that Fox is in jail and his team is out, but he didn't tell her to take the hostage. He's in jail for underestimating the Gargoyles. It's ironic that she's in prison for the same thing. He's probably already laying the groundwork for the events and the leader of the pack. Xanatose isn't one to cry over spilt milk. If he wants another team or another TV show, he can make one. This adventure was about getting information. It's a test worth the expense. He needed to know how well the pack could perform in combat, but more importantly, he needed to know what the Gargoyles were capable of. Now, I think that's a pretty good reasoning on this one, but that would make more sense if he'd been able to get the entire clan involved instead of just Lex and Goliath. When he dealt with the clan, he had little idea what they could do. Yes, Demona told him a little, but how much can you trust her? Yes, the skirmish with the commandos at the castle and the chase in the park gave data on the Gargoyles' capabilities, but you can never have too much. The commandos weren't the brightest. Also, Goliath was asleep for most of the park encounter. Yeah, either he was drugged or he was stoned. As for the second castle battle, well, Demona and Elisa corrupted the study data. David couldn't even act to his fullest level since he rolled a 1 and 2 falling masonry. No doubt he spent the last month reviewing the events that landed him where he is. What could he have done different? Hard to say. There were too many variables. What he needed was a controlled environment to get a good read on the Gargoyles. Would Goliath protect his clan? How good are his combat skills? Can he maneuver against a human pack that's trained to fight in unconventional styles and situations? Most importantly, would Goliath kill if pushed too far? He was an inch away from killing David. Xanatose hasn't forgotten that. Knowing how far your opponent is willing to go is one of the most important things to understand in any arena. There he's smirking and looking quite determined. I like that angle, that picture. You gotta love the antagonist with as much style and attitude as David Xanatose. The test showed that no, Goliath would not kill. He wouldn't act when there was a hostage, either, even when the hostage was not known to him. He would, however, take a risk and meet humans. This makes him easier to manipulate. Final thoughts. What an episode. A full half of it was action, not just any action either. It was cat and mouse. Seeing the Gargoyles how they're handling their new life makes the series feel more realistic. They've been around for a month, yes, but that's not long. It takes longer than that to learn your country's culture when you move in. The real draw of the episode is the antagonist. 5 new ones? Jackpot. And they're working at Xanatose's behest. Unbeknownst to them, layering the antagonist takes skill, but the writers nail it. The conspiracy aspect has shades of Moriarty in BBC's Sherlock. The continuity of the 6th episode sets the tone for the rest of the series. The writers are telling us that they won't drop threads. They'll keep the world mechanics as close to ours as possible. Here the continuity threads are Xanatose being in jail, still, the clan living in his building house, still, and the Gargs being new to the 90s. Well done all around. Next up is Temptation. Now, my short rant at the moment about Fox there is, and this will probably come up in the later episodes, is that they seriously couldn't buy their way out of that. They couldn't tell the hostage, hey, we'll give you a lot of money in your bank account if you just say that this was a publicity stunt. Or, hey, I thought this was a publicity stunt. No one told you? So, that would be a pretty easy thing to get out of, especially when you're that famous and rich and powerful and connected, as we discussed earlier. Anyway, your thoughts. What did you think of the pack? Did you guess that Xanatose was behind it all? Were you surprised to see his tag ending? Comment. You can comment here or on the actual blog. So next up, we'll be having some fun in Temptation. So remember to watch, like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll see